Okay, we are live.
Great. Good morning, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Friday, March 14th meeting of the Pinelands Commission. Jay, can you please read the Open Public Meetings Act statement?
Yes, good morning. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Pinelands Commission was given in compliance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Act by providing notice to all municipal and county clerks in the Pinelands area, to the Secretary of State on December 20th, 2024, to the Commission's officially designated newspapers on December 20th, 2024, and by posting a copy on the Commission's website.
Great, thank you. And we are going to stick with you, Jay, because we have our new commissioner appointee from Gloucester County, Rick City. Welcome. Jay, can you swear in Rick, please? I think we're going to over there. Wait, which flag?
American flag.
American flag.
American flag.
Thank you. We're also in New Jersey, you know. So you can see where I'm at. Thank you.
Ready?
Go ahead.
Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Rick Senior. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution of the State of New Jersey. That I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same. And to the governments established in the United States. And in this state. Under the authority of the people. And that I will faithfully. Impartially. And justly perform all the duties of the office of Pinelands Commissioner. I can read that again. Justly perform all the duties of the office of Pinelands Commissioner. To the best of my ability. Thank you. So help
Rick, I don't know if you want to say a few words or. You're good.
Look forward to working with all of you.
Awesome, thank you, welcome. All right, Sue, can you call the roll, please?
Okay. Commissioner Salta,
Here.
Commissioner Avery,
Here.
Commissioner Busby Pope,
Here.
Commissioner Holderwide, Commissioner Arick,
Here.
Commissioner Letman, Commissioner Lobauer,
Here.
Commissioner Moriello,
Here.
Commissioner Meade, Commissioner Gillespie,
Here.
Commissioner Ritter Sanchez, Commissioner Seymour,
Here.
Commissioner Wallner, and Commissioner Lutford here. We have 9.
All right, no funny business.
All
All right, can everyone please rise and join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, can I get a motion and a second to adopt the minutes from our February 14th meeting?
I'll second.
Thank you, all in favor? Opposed, abstentions? Great. All right, next up, committee chairs and executive directors reports. I'm kicking us off here with the summary of the Policy and Implementation Committee meeting from February 28th. Committee approved the minutes of the January 31st meeting. Then we received a presentation on municipal fourth round affordable housing obligations, including a brief review of the history of affordable housing. Staff outlined the deadlines and obligations in the new Fair Housing Act amendments and discussed the Commission's anticipated role in working with Pinelands municipalities to meet CMP and affordable housing objectives. Committee also heard a presentation on administering the CMP T&E species standards for both plants and animals. The overview covered the current process of survey protocols and options for new approaches. Committee discussed the ramifications of maintaining a list of qualified community consultants and also in setting criteria for qualification of consultants. No recommendation for changing the current community survey protocols or administrative process resulted from the discussion. Anyone have any questions or comments on that? All right, Sue, you're up next.
I have three updates, all positive, good news. I decided to do that this morning and skip all of the not so great things. We are making good progress with our rehabilitation project for Pinelands Manor, plus the driveway here. We wrote and posted our own RFP for the project in early February. Bids were due on March 5th. We hosted two on-site optional visits for interested consultants. We had quite a few consulting firms come through and take photos and talk about how much they loved the building and how beautiful it was, and then I would show them the cracks in the walls. And anyway, it was good. It was nice to have a lot of people here. We received a number of bids by the March 5th deadline, and the evaluation committee is looking at them and ranking and scoring them now. So I anticipate having their recommendation hopefully the early part of next week, which will enable us, we hope, depending on, I haven't seen the bids because I'm not supposed to see them and until after the evaluation is completed, but I'm hopeful that they are such that a recommendation will be made and we'll be able to have a resolution on the agenda at your next meeting for awarding a contract to the historic architect. This is for the design services, not for the actual construction that'll come next. But this will be getting the consultant on board to manage the project and deal with all the plans and figure out how we're going to get everything done. So great progress, very encouraged that we're moving along, and hopefully next time you're here in April, we'll have all the details for you ready to go. We've been talking for a long time about proposed CMP amendments, including map changes related to the Black Run watershed, as well as a number of other very key amendments, including establishing expiration dates for certificates of filing and some very, very old waivers of strict compliance that were issued in the late 1980s. Some fee changes, some revisions to PDC program requirements. All that's been in the works for quite a long time. The proposal is finished, drafted in its entirety, all 80-90 pages, submitted to the governor's office for review and authorization a couple weeks ago. So as soon as we have their go ahead, we will be able to start the actual formal publication and public hearing process. I don't have any estimate on the time it might take, but hopefully I'll have an update, for you sometime soon. And then finally, just yesterday, we the PDC Bank learned that a large number of credits had been severed. A deed restriction has been recorded by Burlington County on about 600 acres in the special agricultural production area, which severed 120 rights, 30 full PDCs, which we believe are already under contract for sale. So large sections of Pinelands are getting preserved. Large numbers of credits are being sold for a lot of different projects. The market and the program has been super active lately. She's been very busy, busy. Small transactions and large. So that's all very good news. That's it.
Thank you. All very positive. Yeah, go ahead.
I was speaking earlier with the director about our project, the Fenwick Manor building. I think we have an opportunity to get an assessment through this direct install program that the BPU has offered over the past several years, number of years. And what they do is they evaluate. They have contractors that come in. They evaluate your building. and they come up with what fits in the program and what doesn't. And we've been successful in my community, I can speak for, for a number of like the heating, air conditioning, lighting, everything that does with energy and so forth. So it's driven energy efficiency. So, and it's as high as the last program we're on is 80% funding and 20% on the local municipality. And so I think that's something that we should be just looking into to see. And it's not just the Fenwick Manor building,
Yeah.
all buildings.
Yeah.
So so there could be a possibility of some substantial savings, especially what you're talking about. I'm sure the air conditioning, the heating system and all that is, and I don't think it will really interrupt or have a problem when we're bidding out anyhow, because that program would just come in and just supplement that whatever the contractor has bid on or whatever we awarded is coming out. So I think it's worth looking at that.
Just one quick comment. What'll happen there is they're gonna come up with more additional improvements to the building. They're gonna do a test in that building. They're gonna find every let's say leakage of air out of there, and they're gonna probably recommend I don't even know what the construction plans look like, but do they include all new windows and doors? Okay, so they're gonna verify that. Of course, any kind of insulation that you're lacking and all that, and your foundation, it's a pretty intensive. So you might get additional costs associated with it, but if it gets offset by the funding that the BPU can provide, it's a positive thing.
Jerry, you had a comment?
I wanted to know what the purchase price of the.
Oh, we don't know yet. But I think we'll find out soon. Yeah, I'll let you know.
Thank you.
Wants like a Price is Right moment.
I will say all sales, for the past month or two have all been over 7,000. We've seen 24,000 is for one rate is the highest price we've seen, but we've seen it fairly consistently. 22,500, that seems to be another sort of magic price, so we're expecting to be.
Thank you.
You all of them from the use out of sales. We got it in Burlington County or they Burlington County sales.
The property is in Burlington.
But it wasn't public.
You did have them come
It's
in.
not
No,
a shin.
no, it's privately owned.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any other questions for Sue? All right, check.
Good morning, commissioners, members of the public. I just had 3 brief things I wanted to mention. Just that the management report from February is now out, and it summarizes some of the application issues that the staff has been working on, so I won't reiterate that. Second item, I just wanted to acknowledge the staff actually appreciated the opportunity to provide a presentation to the policy and implementation committee on the threatened and endangered species process. It's quite involved. Even though the language in our rules is somewhat abbreviated, there's a lot to it, and there's a lot to administering it. And I think it was helpful. Not everyone's going to agree on every approach, but I do think it was helpful to provide breadth of the issues that are presented and the ways to approach those issues. The third thing I wanted to mention was we're working with the YMCA Camp Occonequid in Medford Township. 20+ years ago, the camp went through a rezoning, which placed about 120 acres of the camp in a regional growth area, which allowed for public sanitary sewer to serve the camp. The balance of the property, a deed restriction was imposed on about 390 acres, and it limited the use of the camp to camp type uses and would not allow public sanitary sewer into that area. The township recently approved on behalf of the camp an application that allows the establishment of a daycare center school in both one in the regional growth portion of the parcel and one in the area where it's not permitted. So we are currently discussing with the township and the applicant how to resolve that issue. And the last thing, April Did you have anything that you would like to mention?
I have one thing I wanted to add.
Would you like to sit here?
My name's Abby's there.
We have limited seating today.
I apologize.
I had one thing I wanted to just highlight and a fairly new process that we've developed in the Reg Programs Department. That I think we've touched on in other meetings. For a very long time now, our environmental specialists have been directly answering phone calls and inquiries, posed by the general public. On average, I did some quick math this morning. We get about 20 to 30 phone calls a day coming through our office. And we get about, I'll say 40 to 50 emails per day. Now, those emails include application submissions, so that is inquiries and application submissions. But through all that, as you can understand, our environmental specialists who are charged with reviewing applications, we're having quite some challenge answering all of those phone calls and emails while also processing and reviewing applications and drafting responses and sending responses to the people. So what we did was we assigned 2 technical assistants to answer those phone calls and inquiries, basically be the front line of our office. They answer all the phone calls that come into our office, and they also answer all the general inquiries that come into our office via email. Those people then, 2 things have happened in response to that. That allowed our environmental specialists to review the complex applications and get their responses out the door faster. And it also allows the general public to get answers to their questions faster because they're getting people on the phone right away and they can get answers quickly, more quickly. So we think it's working, but we have had, it's been a big change. And I think since we've been doing it a different way for so many years, we have had some pushback from the public with regard to that process. And, it is unfortunate that we have to do that, but we have had this incredible increase in inquiries and emails, and we're just really wrestling with how to do that, but also make sure that we get the applications out efficiently. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, April. That's all I had.
All right, thank you, Chuck and April. Anyone have any questions or comments for April or Chuck?
Let me say, I think that's positive. And it's good to hear that, we're able to address issues for the public and yet give balance of our staff opportunity to work on the application.
Agreed. Any other questions or comments? Yeah,
I
go
just
ahead.
have one comment. I mean, I've sat up here since 1983. We have struggled with how to deal with the public inquiries to our regulatory affairs office. And we've tried various mechanisms over that period of time. Some have worked better than others, so I'm glad to hear that this seems to be working, April. From applicant liaisons to no phone calls at all. So, it's not easy to process all the applications with the number of staff you have, and they do a great job. I just want to say it's a sticky problem that's been around for a long time.
Any other questions or comments? All right, Jean.
Good morning. My few things to touch on. I'll start with the P&I meeting. On the 28th of March, we'll have NJDEP staff here to talk about their wetlands program plan. So that had come up in a recent meeting, and commissioners were interested in exactly what that plan was. So we'll have a presentation on that. We are also on another DEP related issue, the MS4, their stormwater requirements require towns to prepare watershed improvement plans. So we want to look a little further into what's required in those plans and see how the commission can possibly participate with that. In terms of conformance, staff has been working with Pemberton Township to address issues on 8 ordinances adopted between 2021 and 2024. Those ordinances covered a host of issues like redevelopment plans for solar, cannabis, and right to farm. So the staff provided a model ordinance that will help the township resolve those issues, at least on most of the ordinances, if not all of them. And then the last thing I would touch on is that the executive director and I, a little familiar. The executive director and I attended the Camden County Ag Development Board meeting, a special meeting yesterday, where they wanted to talk about the agricultural development area planning in Camden County, specifically looking at Waterford and Winslow, because that's where most of the remaining agricultural land is, and just get the commission's input on how those areas can be identified consistent with the CMP. So that was it.
Great. Anyone have any questions or comments for Gina?
Just
Go ahead.
Gina, do you know who from PDP is doing the wetlands presentation? Do you know?
Nick Procopio and M. Yepsen. I forget her last
Yeah.
first name, but
I
Yepsen.
encourage anyone who's attending, have your questions ready, because it's, this is an opportunity more than just going through a PowerPoint and reading, here are all the rules, here's our authority. But the tricky questions that, particularly for staff and coordination, so I would get that list ready, because it's a good opportunity to really. Get some
I'll
done.
email Nick and tell him.
Get ready. Got your CBA next.
Oh, Mark does be perfect.
Yeah, and I would just remind the commissioners, even if you're not a member of the committee, more than welcome and encouraged to attend and participate in the discussion. Any other questions or comments for Gina?
Question for Gina, on the Camden County agricultural areas, is that traditional farming or berry agriculture or a combination thereof?
So what's in, it was funny, the part that is currently in their agricultural development area is what they call their berry farms, I think is what they said, something to that effect. And it is mostly in the Pinelands agricultural production areas. They want to expand to pick up a few existing farms in regional growth and rural development area.
That probably aren't there.
Yes, they certainly aren't very.
So that was really, the meeting was more about how to include farms when they're isolated and in development areas.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Gina? All right, Stacy.
Good morning, everyone. I want to point you to the management report. There's a lot of litigation pending and it's been updated. One thing I did want to mention was Mojave, which I discussed, I believe, at the last meeting. That is a matter that where the applicant failed to exhaust administrative remedies, and rather than resolve the issue here, they ran right to the appellate division. Since I last spoke to you about the case, and motion to dismiss for lack of jurisdiction of the appellate division has been filed. And so we are just waiting to hear, get a decision from the court. Hopefully that matter will be returned to the commission to address. Additionally, I wanted to let you know, Sue brought up rules. As you may recall, there was a pilot program with regard to electric transmission rights of way and vegetative management within those rights of way. Probably about 2 or more years now, we've been working on a rule package in order to make that a permanent part of the CMP. The pilot program was very effective in 2021. The executive director indicated that it was effective and that we were going to try to make the program permanent. Director Berg and Executive Director Brogan and I had a stakeholder conference with the members of the utilities. So that would be First Energy, formerly known as ACE or Atlantic City Electric, PSE&G and JCP&L to go over what we're anticipating that the draft rules will look like. It was a very successful meeting. They provided us not only oral comments, but written comments as well. So we're in the process of reviewing that and continuing to work on that package. So hopefully I will have a summary of those comments for you. We can discuss it at P&I sometime in April.
Great. Anyone have any questions or comments for Stacy? All right, thanks, Stacy. Paul.
Good morning, happy Friday. As you know, on our agenda today, we have our 2024 annual report. I want to thank everybody who worked on that project. It's a significant undertaking every year, and I think we can be proud of our work, and it's a great chance to show everyone all that we've done for the year. We're going to have a presentation on it as well. Secondly, as you know, we have our Pinelands short course on Saturday, 36th annual. Just going to show you a little bit. Some highlights. This is Cyrus, the broad-winged hawk. And Cedar Run Wildlife Refuge in Medford brought numerous live raptors, hawks, and they're very popular Houdini, the great horned owl. And we had an awesome turnout of about 450 people. This is a basket weaving course that's filled up very quickly, and we're going to bring it back. We had some Lenny Lenape descendants and climate change programs, trees of the Pinelands, drawing the Pinelands. This is Alan Crawford, who's a very talented artist. Soils. This is Rick Prickett, who did a presentation on his work to propagate swamp pink. And then we had live music with Jackson Pines, who I had the pleasure of sitting in with for a song. Didn't know the song, but we've all been playing a long time, and I think we kind of killed it. And we also, at the same time, sold about $500 worth of Pinelands merchandise in 24 transactions, and we're doing very well in that regard. So from here, we're going to meet with Stockton officials to go over the event, and then also talk about our summer short course, which is July 18th at Kramer Hall in Hamilton. We have in the lobby short course, save the dates. And that is my update.
Amazing. I can't believe we don't have video of you playing with the band.
It's on YouTube.
It's as if I'm setting it up for.
I posted it on X, Instagram, and YouTube. The videos on YouTube.
All right, so everyone go check it out. Anyone have any questions or comments for Paul? All right, thank you. All right, moving through the agenda, next we have, can I get a motion and a second for a resolution for 4 public development applications?
I'm sorry.
All right. Chuck, you want to run through these for us, please? What did I?
Sorry, Madam Chairperson. There are 4 public development applications up for the commission's consideration today. I'll do them in a little reverse order of how they're presented on the resolution itself. The first application is in Egg Harbor City. Egg Harbor City is proposing a parcel they own, a 3-lot re-subdivision to create 3 conforming lots on their main street, Philadelphia Avenue in Egg Harbor City. Senator sewers available, no developments proposed with this time, they're just creating the lots. The second application we have from the Department of Environmental Protection is down in Greenbanks, the former Greenbanks School in Washington Township. Over the past few years, the Department of Environmental Protection acquired that building and a parcel, and the commission has granted a couple of approvals to establish different offices for the Department of Environmental Protection in that building. The application in front of the commission today is to provide a driveway, so 350 linear foot paved driveway out the rear of the parcel to connect to an existing municipal road. Currently, the school only fronts on an existing road, and the driveway provides access only from the front of the parcel. The third application before us is also a Department of Environmental Protection application in Jackson Township. There's an existing Forest Resource Education Center building on the parcel that was approved by the commission back in 2001 that provides different services to the public. Also, the state nursery is located on the parcel. The Department of Environmental Protection is proposing a maintenance building very close to the existing education center. And Paul, if you could put up the aerial for the last application. So the last application before the public development application before the commission today. Thank you, Paul. Can we
Yeah,
use it a little bit,
yes,
please?
I'm gonna hide the video panel, floating panel. It's not like. There you go, okay, and then. Second?
Yes, so this is an application before the commission today for half a mile of road improvements to the parkway. The slide, just to orient everyone, is oriented north to south. The dark green line is the Pinelands area boundary. The road is moving east to west or west to east, however you want to look at it. It is actually Dover Road. You also have Route 9. The red area is the area that's going to be subject to development. So that's the general orientation of the project that's located in the Parkway Overlay District, which was created specifically in the Pinelands plan to recognize the parkway and the parkway's needs to improve. The parkway right-of-way, obviously the road is within the right-of-way, but the parkway right-of-way runs the entire length of the Pinelands area boundary, and it moves through multiple different, what we refer to as management areas. So there was a need to create a special district to allow for certain improvements with conditions. There's a wetland complex located on the southern end. You can see the stream moving through there. There's a little blue dot which depicts an isolated wetland that's sitting in the middle of the right of way. So the application will impact the blue dot that you see, which is around, if you remember, it's around a 2,000 square foot isolated wetland that will be filled as part of this application, most of it. In constructing stormwater management basins to meet the commission's stormwater management requirements on the southern end, there'll be 5 stormwater management basins constructed. One of those basins will actually be in the median. The other basins are on either side of the paved Parkway Road. That will necessitate removal of about 3.5 acres of forest vegetation. Some of the development that's occurring for the widening of the lanes, I believe it's about 15 feet of widening. Let me just double check. Yes, so some of the widening that will occur for the lane travel lanes will also move it closer, the parkway closer to wetlands. And the report addresses that will widen those lanes will still maintain a 25-foot buffer to wetlands. But right now the existing lanes are proximate to wetlands. I think that's the overview. Ernie Steeman of our staff, anything that I've missed?
No, just that the wetland that will be impacted, 2 new interchanges are proposed. One is an exit northbound onto Route 9. The other is the entrance from Dover Road southbound. That new access ramp is what's impacting that isolated herbaceous wetland.
Thank you. Be happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions?
What exit is this at? Approximately
82.
82? Okay.
This would be, I don't know exactly, this is the very end of the Pinelands. I thought it was 80.
Is it basically a continuation of expanding, continuing through, widening this project?
This project is actually approximately 3 miles long, but only a half mile is in the Pinelands.
Okay.
About 2.5 miles are outside the Pinelands. That will impact exits, I believe, 80 through 83 to improve that extremely congested area.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? All right, hearing none, all in favor?
Bye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Great, thank you. Next up, public comments on one application for a single family dwelling in Monroe. So, anyone in the room have public comment on this project? Yeah,
Yes, I do.
just state your name at the top, please.
Sure. My name is Joshua Lehman. Good morning, everyone. My name is Joshua Lehman. Good morning, everyone. I've lived in the Pinelands my whole life. I grew up in Williamstown and currently live in Winslow Township. I'm here to speak on behalf of my application for a waiver of strict compliance, to develop a single-family home for my family on block 2601, lot 36 in Monroe Township. I'd like to provide some background on the history of this property. This approximately 5.65 acre parcel of land has been in my family over multiple generations. My family's paid taxes on and maintained the property since my grandfather Edmund Lehman first acquired it in the 1960s. In the 1990s, my grandfather and my mother sought to construct a single family home for our family on this land. At that time, they were granted a waiver of strict compliance by the Pinelands. However, due to significant hardships, they were unable to commence construction, which resulted in the expiration of the waiver in December of 1998 per the deed. My grandfather passed away in the early 2000s, and the property has since been transferred to my grandmother, Helen Lehman, who with the help of my mother continued to pay taxes on and maintain the land. My grandmother and mother would like nothing more in the world than to witness the completion of a process that started in the 1990s. Similarly, I dream to be able to utilize the land and construct a home for my wife and daughter. Therefore, I restarted the application process with the Pinelands on November 27th, 2023 for the reissuance of the waiver of strict compliance to build a home. Over the past 16 months, I have diligently complied with all requirements set forth by the Pinelands Commission. Through doing so, I've invested tens of thousands of dollars in professional fees to be able to reach this point where my application is now considered complete. I fully understand and support the agency's mission to preserve, protect, and enhance the natural and cultural resources of the Pinelands. Should the waiver be granted, the proposed single-family home and driveway would impact less than 3/4 of 1 acre of the entire 5.65 acre property. This would preserve around 5 acres to remain undisturbed and maintained in perpetuity for my family and future heirs. So I appreciate everyone's time and consideration throughout this process and for providing an opportunity to speak on my application. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lehman. Anyone on the phone calls? Anyone else in the room? All right, thank you. I'm gonna close this particular public comment period. Next up, some items that don't require our action, some master plans and municipal ordinances. In Brad's absence, Sue is gonna run through. We're not gonna make any comparisons, Sue. Don't worry. None at all. Cheat sheet
Here, so nothing terribly new and exciting on the list, I'll say. There's a redevelopment plan from Hamilton Township that affects one small half-acre lot in the regional growth area that's in a commercial zone already, so nothing terribly noteworthy there. Monroe Township is revising standards for home occupations. We see that from time to time from a number of municipalities where they're usually responding to a particular situation that's developed, and they're just trying to limit and deal with the potential impacts of home occupations. Pemberton Township has amended its Browns Mills Town Center redevelopment plan to allow for supermarkets and specialty grocery stores, allow them to have drive-through service windows and gas station as well. So they are making some changes in order to facilitate the redevelopment plan. You've probably all read about in various articles over many, many years. Particularly noteworthy, Weymouth Township, that's a municipality that we don't hear from very much in terms of master plan or land use and zoning ordinances, but they have completed re-examination of their master plan and recommended in there some additional ordinance changes, which you will probably see at a future meeting for review. Just some minor clarifications. they've got an ordinance pending relating to, the number of domestic farm animals that can be allowed on any particular property in various zones, or updating permitted uses in their village commercial zone. That, I only mentioned Weymouth because we don't usually see them on the agenda at all, so I thought that would be worth noting, but that's about it.
Thank you. Yeah, question.
What's the one city ordinance about?
So Vineland, let me look here, it looks like they are clarifying some of the standards they already have in place for the city's issuance of temporary use permits. So again, if there is a public emergency or some sort of storm or catastrophic event, and there needs to be, we see this occasionally, there needs to be special temporary permits issued for debris storage or something like that. They are just changing the conditions and the standards for those permits, which probably in all likelihood, given the very, very small portion of violence in the Pinelands area, won't ever be an issue for the commission to deal with.
Any other questions or comments? Good job. All right, next is, can I get a motion in a second for a resolution to approve the commission's 2024 annual report?
I'll move on that.
Thank you. Now back to Executive Director Brogan, for some details.
You like that remote?
I suppose.
This is different, so just down this folder.
Not gonna go through excruciating detail. I hope you've all had a chance to look through the report. It looks beautiful and has a lot of very good information in there.
Oh, layer, not right.
You were testing it.
Yeah.
The report is actually required by the Pinelands Protection Act and then subsequent executive order from the governor. So that's why we do this. It's the March meeting every year because that's the deadline for issuance of an annual report. And so this is just as, because it gets confusing, this is the report on what you all did last calendar year, 2024. Couple highlights. The rules that the commission adopted in December 2023, the water management rules to protect the Kirkland-Francie aquifer, took effect. And we began implementing them in 2024, which means working with all of our municipalities to make sure their ordinances were updated and beginning to apply the new standards to development applications, old and new, as they came in the door. And climate resilience, the climate committee was still active and meeting in 2024. They had 3 meetings, spent a lot of the time reviewing and addressing actions and committees that were formed by other state agencies that we're participating in. We are still discussing and working with BPU on the dual use solar pilot program that they're implementing and trying to figure out ways to make that work here in the Pinelands area. Obviously DEP, the water supply plan, and the proposed amendments that DEP to rules that were published as a proposal last summer, I think it was. And then notably, the committee also completed, the staff completed its own analysis of Pinelands management area boundaries, particularly looking for areas that are currently designated for growth in the Pinelands plan that are vulnerable to climate change. That was a significant undertaking and did result in a number of recommendations that the committee made to other committees of the commission, and some of which have been implemented already. Accessible trails, this should look familiar to most of you. You know that we're working on a memorandum of agreement with Pemberton, Stafford, and Evesham townships. Last year it was mostly Pemberton and Stafford on accessible trail MOAs. Those were both completed to allow for surfacing of existing trails that are in wetlands and wetlands buffers. And well, I'll just go back to that slide. What's not mentioned here in 2025, we were working on CMP amendments to deal with the issue, because we do anticipate there will be more requests for these types of trails going forward. And so the work on proposed rules has begun as well. You'll be hearing more about that in a couple of months. Also last year, the commission issued its 5-year report on the long-term economic monitoring program, which has all kinds of data in there on various statistics, as well as a municipal fact book that calls out where each Pinelands municipality is in a number of factors. I encourage everyone to take a look at that. It's on our website, and we did do an extensive presentation for the commission last year. I'm not going to go over that now. Permanent land protection continues in the Pinelands, of course. We had our second annual land preservation summit last April. Have the third annual summit scheduled for next month here at the office. That's proven to be a really great initiative in gathering people in person to talk about all the different efforts that are ongoing and coordinate those efforts amongst many different agencies, municipalities, and counties. Last fiscal year, so we track a lot of things on fiscal year, not a calendar year, so it gets a little tricky, but last fiscal year, another 1,166 acres of land were permanently preserved in the Pinelands area, much of which was through some program that this commission administers or requires of applicants, including 465 acres preserved through the Pinelands Development Credit Program. The severance that I mentioned this morning that has just occurred is already more than that for this fiscal year, so the program is coming along. So as of last June 2024, our estimate is 51% of the Pinelands area has been permanently protected, which is somewhere around 483,000 acres. And you can see, I won't do the numbers here, but you can just look at the green bars. You can see pretty rapid increase, 2011 through 2018, and then smaller increases. Small but steady increases are still occurring over time. PDC program activity in 2024. This is calendar year 2024, I believe. Good number of credits were allocated by the commission in response to requests for letters of interpretation. Over 72 full credits were allocated to 28 different properties in ascending areas. 12 credits were severed, which protected 281 acres of land. Again, that's the calendar year, not fiscal year. So don't pay too much attention to the specific numbers. During last year, there were a number of sales. 10.25 full PDCs were sold. Average sales price $86,758. That's for 4 development rights. I think the notable factor there is the increase in that average sales price in 2024 over the price in 2023, which was only $73,242. So the market is active, and that means there's demand, and that means sales prices are increasing. And I think we will next year at this time we'll likely be reporting an additional increase in prices. Credits were redeemed. 14.25 full credits were redeemed on 10 different residential projects. Some of those were just for development of 1 unit, others ranging up to a large project in Ann Arbor Township of 657 units. Most were for single family detached homes. That's the typical development type in the Pinelands area, but there were several projects that also involve the combination of townhouses and apartments. So this part, regulatory activities, this is probably information that you all don't see on a monthly basis because the commission is not being asked to take action on private development applications. So this, I think, is particularly of note. There's a lot of data in the report to give you an idea of what's happening and where. This pie chart, without asking you to try and read all the numbers, is depicting data on new applications received by the commission in calendar year 2024. There were 348 that came in. As is almost always the case, most of them propose development in the regional growth area of the Pinelands, which makes sense. That's where development is encouraged and zoned to occur. That's the orange area on the pie chart. The purple area is Pinelands Town. That's also another one of our areas that's designated for some amount of growth. So you can see that A lot of the application activity is in those two areas. In terms of those 348 new applications, the vast majority are for residential development. That's also no surprise. That is always the case each year in the Pinelands area. Most of the application activity is residential. There's a good number of commercial / industrial. We've lumped those all together, commercial industrial projects, 79 new applications received last year. Institutional could involve a wide range of things. It's hospitals, it's road widenings, parking lots at a post office, fire station expansion, all that is termed institutional. Well, infrastructure might be the road widening. It gets a little, some of these, the definitions can be, try to parse out exactly which category things are, it gets a little mixed up, but, so 348 new applications. We thought we'd try and map them for the first time, so you could see. This to me is interesting just because all the dots represent a new application, and as you might expect, most of them are around the edges of the Pinelands area, right? Because that's where the development areas are located, very few in the heart of the Pinelands. And again, the report's online and will enable you to zoom in on the map so you can really see the different colors. The different colors on each dot is a different development type. So residential is red, I think. I'm having trouble seeing them. Red is commercial, color is residential.
It is yellow.
Yellow. So hard to see a little bit of the, I don't know, well, maybe if you turn the light out. A little bit. So you can see that's where the new applications are proposing. So.
I was gonna say, I think all the commissioners should have this on their laptop.
Good, yeah, so you can zoom in there too. I forgot. Yeah, there should be a tab and then you can scroll down, follow along. So that was new applications. The other thing we track sort of a measure of activity in terms of development are the number of what we call completeness documents that were issued last year. Most of those are certificates of filing. Ladybug? Ladybug. Oh, most of these are certificates of filing, which you imagine all heard of many times. So this is what the commission issues when an application for development is completed. There were 209 completeness documents issued last year for various types of development. The pie chart shows you once again, most of them are issued in the regional growth area, Pinelands Town, Pinelands Village in red. There you would expect, and relatively few in conservation oriented areas. So after the certificate of filings are issued, the next thing we get involved with reviewing is when the applicant takes that certificate of filing to the town and obtains some type of approval. Here we're showing you data on final municipal site plan and subdivision approvals. Just as an example of one category of approval that is issued in the filings, then comes back to the commission to review. There were 63 last year that we reviewed and signed off on, meaning they're consistent with the CMP and allowed to take effect. Pretty even split between commercial / industrial development and residential. But once again, the majority regional growth, Pinelands Town, Pinelands Village, the pie charts looks pretty much the same on each of these charts, which is what you would expect to see. Public development applications, these are the applications that come before you all to vote on before you approve this morning. For example, last year there were 16 applications that the commission approved that involved public development. We heard this morning from an applicant for a waiver of strict compliance. That'll be on your agenda for next month. Last year in 2024, for the first time ever, no waivers of strict compliance were approved by the commission. I couldn't even believe it. I went back through every agenda and every year tracking back because it's never heard. We don't issue many anymore. Maybe a couple, 2, 3 a year is pretty typical. But last year there were none. Anyway, and And then this photo shows you our highly successful municipal training session held in Hamilton at Kramer Hall last May, with April there giving her presentation on we had 70 some people, many in person you can see, and then many participating via Zoom. And we went over all kinds of CMP procedures and standards and how we interact with municipalities and what we need them to know as part of, they're part of the review process and what the commission does. April demoed our maps, our interactive maps, the information on our website. It was really great. And we're talking about variations on that and what we might do this year, next year, making a plan for future sessions. It really was very successful. I'm not going to go into a huge amount of detail. There's a lot of interesting data and photos in the report on what the science office was up to in 2024. I'm hopeful that we're going to figure out a month for JB and him and the staff to come and do a full presentation for you all like they normally do. We had a little scheduling issue this year and he wasn't able to come in February like he normally would. So they've been extraordinarily busy. They're not here today because we're very busy. It's getting warm. The snakes are stirring and coming out and but they're working on all these things all the time. These are not new. This is their ongoing work on rare snake monitoring, snake fungal disease, king snakes, box turtles, and just the water level monitoring. All that's part of the environmental monitoring program is ongoing. So stay tuned. There'll be a presentation coming soon. Paul and Joel, very busy responding to inquiries from the public about things other than development applications, which really runs there's a wide range of things that people call and inquire about. We had 2 short courses last year, just like we will this year. The World Water Monitoring Challenge in October. The speaker series, which is usually in the summer. We have presentations here at the office for people to come and see. So trying to widen our educational efforts and educate more people about the Pinelands and why we do what we do. Lots of photos and videos. If you encourage you all to follow along on Instagram, you get to see Paul performing and all the gorgeous photos. And hopefully you all saw the most recent videos or photos he posted of the otter that he finally got to see. It's just wonderful. And of course, the calendar was a huge success. Our Happy Trails calendar for it's the 2025 calendar that was produced in 2024 and distributed for all of you and the public. These are a little bit on our financial situation. The fiscal year 2021 audit was completed last year. Fiscal year 2022 audit was started and is nearly complete. That middle bullet point there talks about our application fee revenue for 2024. That's fiscal year 2024. You can see we received just over $1 million in application fee revenue, a little bit less than the prior fiscal year, more than we anticipated, but still less than the prior year. And then our sales of cannabis merchandise, which Paul mentioned this morning, he was very busy at the short course making sales. That continues to happen. And I think yesterday we actually received a significant donation.
We did.
To the Katie Fund as well. All the proceeds from the sales go to our Katie Fund, and we received a $500 donation.
We did.
Is that right?
Yeah.
From a garden club.
Yeah, I was gonna say, since we launched that store, I believe we sold out $5,000 worth of merchandise.
Wow.
Pretty good.
Right, they do. And I mean, it was never meant to be like a big money-making undertaking. It was really meant as a way to, capture people's interest and involve people, and just another way of making people aware of what we do and why it's important. The money, of course, will all be used in accordance with the Katie Fund policies for reforestation and native plants. That's it.
Thank you, and incredible work by the staff over the course of the year, and also putting the look back together. So thank you for that. Thanks, everybody. Anyone else have any comments or questions? All right, we're ready for a vote. All in favor of approving the annual report? Opposed? Abstentions? Great, thanks again. Great work, everybody. All right, now we have the general public comment period. Let me put the phone number back up.
I'll go get these sheets.
Oh, thank you. All right, John Volpa.
John Volpa, founder of the Black Run Preserve, speaking as a private citizen and resident of Evesham Township. Good morning, commissioners. My previous statements to the Pinelands Commission focused on the immense environmental value local open space delivers to people living in the West Jersey region. Preserved open space provides important ecological services, such as producing clean air and water, sequestering carbon, improving biodiversity, protecting biodiversity, and affording flood control. Open space is a key to building sustainable communities. All sustainable communities share three types of value: the environment, focusing on the people, and economics. Today, my comments will focus upon the value open space affords local people, specifically public health. Over the past 30 years, public health benefits provided by spending time in nature have been widely recognized. Blood pressure is lowered, depression and anxiety diminished, dopamine flow to the brain improves mood, the human immune system is boosted. That's naming just a few gifts from nature acquired when being in open spaces. Human beings become healthier in every way by spending time exercising in natural surroundings. The Black Run Preserve provides those health benefits for thousands of visitors each year. One of the main reasons the Black Run Preserve has achieved its level of popularity is its accessible 19-mile trail system and its portable bathroom facilities. Making open spaces accessible for walking, biking, and a wide variety of low-impact activities is an asset to the local community. The Friends of the Black Run Preserve Ambassadors, of which I volunteer, have recently created a new program entitled Veterans in Nature. The program is designed to connect veterans with the healing power of nature. Studies based upon the experiences of veterans have identified how the human body keeps the score of past trauma. Time spent in nature is a way to help vets mitigate that toll held within. The FBRP Vets in Nature program is just one of the many around the nation using open space and accessible trails for its value to improve one's emotional and mental health. I urge the Pinelands Commission to support the development of more sustainable trails with sanitary facilities. I hope the Pinelands Commission continues to work with Evesham Township to expand the BRP's accessibility for visitors with ambulatory challenges, so that in the near future, the Friends Veterans Program will be able to include local vets with disabilities in its outings. I look forward to attending the Pinelands Commission's Accessible Trail Summit in April and sharing ideas about how communities can improve public health by utilizing open spaces for their citizens. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Lehman, I assume you were good?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
thank you.
Just want to make sure, it's an open forum. A. Phillips.
Good morning, everybody in general. My name is America Phillips. I live in Pinelands Township, Burlington County for 45 years. My development is surrounding the state forest. We have roads in there where we do the walking, but right now it's very impossible because the people use that road as we live in that development to transport, go back and forth to their work. For that, I've been using the trail, the road to trail in Pemberton Township. And it's by the train station. And what I noticed, it is no public bathrooms, or overpass or anything there. And that trail is lately, it's been used more and more right now. Right now with the good weather, I recall in October and November, I was walking most every day in there. And it's a lot of people, like the gentleman stated, with disability, that will help, they help for the people. And it's more older people and younger people using that, those trail, because why? I'm going to tell you why, the reason. For safety. I don't feel safe right now to walking in any public roads, because you never know who is coming. Doesn't matter which side of the road that you'll be walking on. It's not safe, number one. And I just hope that every single trails, our commissioner and our county will encourage to have portable paths there for the handicap especially, because I've been seeing people using the wheelchairs and taking their loved ones for the walk there. And I also, yes, I noticed this is my first time I attend this kind of meetings in my 45 years. I was a state worker, and I know what is going on up and down in every single sections. That's me. I also attend the commission meeting. And what I think in the future will help us is to preserve, because this is the only thing we have. We can show the young generation is coming, because we are older. We'll be going, the least we can leave something for our young generation to look for. And I did attend a lot of meetings in reference to for the snacks and everything, what I already know. I came from a country, I'm not from this country. I came in here 58 years ago, I came to this country. And the country was living in Panama, we were farmers. I know how the people make a living. We were self-sufficient in my country. We live in the farm, we took care of the coffee beans, we took care of the vegetable, we took care of the animal, we took care of everything. And I live in Presidential Lake Development. And what I did was, after I retired, 14 years ago, maybe 15 years ago, I retired from the state. I decided to beautify my entrance. We started a group of people, but they move out in the area to another places, and I took over in my own. I like to do things on my own. As a farmer, data for a farmer, I know how the things work. You do not need a lot of money to just put a plant in the ground. I've been working for my 2 days in the interim in Presidential Lakes. If you go by May, all the flower will be there. I decorated for the soldiers, because those soldiers, those flags in there represent every single branch in the military. And for them, we have a free country. It's not because a lot of people just make a statement. I'm a widow for a veteran, a very proud mother for a veteran, and a proud for a former. And I was a firefighter in the field, and I did search and rescue in the field also. That's me. I'm going to live that way, and I will just continue attending your meeting. This is my first time I attend the meeting. Thank you. You're doing a great job. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. Thank you very much. Heidi Gay.
Hello, everyone. Heidi Gay from Pinelands Preservation Alliance. Welcome, Commissioner Singer, to the Pinelands Commission. Congratulations to the staff on a successful Pineland short course. I really enjoyed getting my hands dirty in a soil course for that. And then also congratulations on the annual report, not to be outdone by our 35-year report that PEA is releasing. We've got 20 copies. So in lieu of our annual report in which we were giving thumbs up and thumbs down to different government agencies on how we think they did for the Pinelands this year, instead, we're reflecting on the 35-year history of Pinelands Preservation Alliance. So our organization has grown from what was originally just a watchdog organization to a multifaceted one that does work on accessible trails, handicap issues, as well as sustainable agriculture, native landscaping, and lots of public lands work. So we thank you for all the ways that Pinelands Commission has intersected with and supported our work. And we look forward to another 35 years and beyond of working with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Is there anyone else in the room?
Stephen Elliott, also from Pinelands Preservation Alliance. We just wanted to also thank the commission for the work on those CNP amendments that are now in the governor's office. We apologize if any of our previous comments were seen as harsh. We just wanted to emphasize the need for urgency. I'd also like to echo what Heidi said about the Pinelands Shore course. It was a great course, specifically the course or the presentation on the current drought situation. We hope that'll sort of be a wake-up call to water use in the region and how much we're pumping out of aquifer. But thank you again for those CNP amendments.
Thank you. Do we have anyone on the phone?
There are no callers.
All right, let's shut down the phone line. There's nobody else in the room. All right, I'm gonna close the public comment period. All right, any final questions, comments from commissioners? Oh, Paul.
Yes, I'm sorry. I meant to mention earlier, and congratulate Joel Mott on his work on the short course. He always goes above and beyond in organizing it. And then specifically this year, we had a situation where one of the presenters was ill. He was like a trapeze artist without a net, and he did the entire presentation without notes or slides. He did a great job. That's going above and beyond again. I just wanted to thank him for that.
That's amazing. Very impressive. Good job, Joel. All right, any closing comments? All right, can I get a motion and a second to adjourn?
I'll make that move.
All in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Have a great weekend, everybody.